Wednesday, November 13th, Stan Ehrlich, Market Analysis. Good morning. About 10:55 California time, middle of the trading day, traditional session, and that's 6:30 to 1 o'clock California time. So we start out with the stock market indexes, go to interest rate, go to futures markets, and I've got Bitcoin included uh, in my charts now. And I may have added, I think I did, another chart at the end after hogs for a long-term picture might be very, very interesting for those investors out there. So here we go. Remember, we got overbought in most or all of the indexes in the last several days. So that usually indicates that we're very close to a turn down of some sort. May not last very long and it may not go very far, but sometimes it goes quite a ways and lasts longer than you think. So have we started to work our way lower? Well, at the moment, we're up and near the high of the day, about 2 points S&P or 18.75, 19 on the E-mini. Higher than the close of yesterday, but not a new high for the trend and approximately equal to the highest closing only on Monday recently. So we haven't had much of a dip at all. One day, nah. So I still think we're going to be coming down to 59.24 at least, and maybe much better support area, 57 and a quarter, but that has to happen very soon. And we're already in the 13th of November, the middle of November. So my expectation of strength in November, new highs for the trend, hasn't happened. I still think it's going to, but after more of a correction and a strong December. And then we're going to start talking about this Friday, the Santa Claus rally. Being a buyer just before Christmas in a very broad general sense and selling out the early part of January again in a very broad general sense. That has worked very, very well for decades. Now, I'm expecting the market to top out somewhere in this ballpark price level, frankly, and turn back down and very soon, maybe today, tomorrow, get below yesterday's lows. Next chart. We're looking at the 5 minute, I believe, E-mini chart, rally highs at the moment, but right about where it topped out on Friday, Monday, and Tuesday. In that area, resistance. So let's see it flip back down to support where it just bounced off of a few hours ago and see that that gets broken. And then we're going to come down to here, probably 59.50, and then to this much more significant levels I pointed out on the daily chart. Looking at Spider, basically the same comment, except the Spider has gapped up, and gaps are almost always closed since they still exist. The more hours of the day we trade, the less chance there are for gaps. And forex doesn't gap at all, except on the weekends, which is rare because it trades 24/7 during the week. Spider, I think it could come back to the significant support area. And my cursor has now locked up on me for a moment. I'm sorry. I'm wondering whether my machine has been bogging down a little bit this morning. Come on. Let's hit an escape once. That didn't help at all. And if this keeps going on too much longer, I'll just have to start over again. Okay. Click over here. And the chart's redrawing. Good. I got three big monitors, right, left, and you're looking at the middle. Okay, I'm sorry for that stall. We're back in business. I'll be careful. Next chart is the 5 minute chart on the Spider. And it started to slip off, but it's still in this resistance area, and it's still really not doing exactly what I thought it could do, should do, and wanted it to do, but you can never make the market do what you want it to do. You always have to move with it. This is a very strong bull market. I am not bearish. I'm just short-term reactionary to a support area. In this case, for the SPY, 585, and then up. Next chart. We got a sell signal in the QQQ on Monday. Great. We have two new short sales from Monday and one from yesterday. Great. They both have green trade lines. That tells you that at the moment, with the current entries and current tick, we have profits. Great. And if you look at the detailed chart, it's even better. We had a very, very small little tiny profit on the one scalp on Monday when the signal occurred, and the new short position trade is still on the books. Now my cursor is not behaving. So the new short sale up here early in the morning, I think 1 minute after the opening yesterday, we touched our new short trigger price for ER3 and had a very nice profitable scalp during the day, getting out relatively close to the low. And my cursor is going very slowly. You got to get right about there is where we exited our ER3 day trade. Our ER3 overnight is still short at the current quote and down. It's green. Okay, not great. I want to see it close below here. 509.75. More downside pressure should occur right away. Next chart. Also in the NASDAQ futures contract, we did get a bearish engulfing ER sell signal on Monday. We have two trades in progress, both doing okay. Let's look at the 1 minute chart. Day trade on Monday, and that is, we're showing you only the ER3, not the ER1. ER3 day trade lost a little money, got stopped out in that rally high. Well, actually, the day trade, I'm sorry, did make some money as a green dotted line. And the overnight did get stopped out before it allowed to go overnight, and it lost a little. So there's a wash. Too bad. If I had slower moving yellow STS trailing stops, I would have been able to maintain the trade longer, but I don't know if that's a good idea or not. Next chart. YM, Dow Jones Futures, higher on the day, overbought still. I'm still looking for all of these indexes to stop rallying and make new lows. If they do keep on rallying and they close in new high historic rounds in these charts, I would expect another substantial thrust to the upside rally and getting even more overbought again and try this process a second time. Next, we're looking at the 5 minute YM. And now we're looking at the YM daily. What did I do? I think I went backwards. NASDAQ, 5 minute, YM daily, YM 5 minute, and now, come on, chart. I'm sorry. Okay, Russell. Yeah, this is the RTY. So historical resistance, overbought conditions. It is floundering up here, but we really need to close below the lows of late last week, Thursday, Friday lows. It attacked those lows, didn't break them, and then bounced. So again, a little uncomfortable with this bounce, but it's not breaking any rules. And here we have the short-term 5 minute Russell. Look at the Bitcoin. BIT is commonly the symbol. Also, BTM for Ninja Trader here is the symbol. For those of you who don't know, the symbols are not exactly the same always, especially new stuff like Bitcoin and some futures, currency futures, and so on. Stuff that's come around the last 10, 20 years, maybe 25, don't have standardized symbols like stocks do. So, and it doesn't really matter what the stocks, it's the same across all the platforms, but again, not the same symbol on different platforms as different symbol. Bitcoin overbought, very much so. Unusual characteristic about this Bitcoin is that it tends to have very, very quick, sharp moves on a moment's notice, which is not particularly typical of most other charts I'm used to dealing with for 53 years. So a little bit of no. Now I'm sure I've seen this many, many times, but not as consistently as this chart seems to be doing. Excuse me. Also not used to dealing with stuff that's trading at 1 or 2. Usually it's 20 and higher dollars a share or per contract. Now, it should come back down to close this gap. That would be 177-ish, or at least to this 204, and that slants downwards, so it gets cheaper every day. Around 2, maybe a little lower. Previous bear trend line. But that's about the best I can say. Then turn back up again. It does seem to be appearing to start a bull move that could go spectacularly higher, but not the best of that's about the best I can say for Bitcoin. Sorry. Next chart is bonds. New low and a potential new low close if it stays here at the low of the day. Not that this is bearish, which it basically and very often is, but I've also seen lots of bottoms where the low close is on the low of the day, which I think we just touched right now. So if it goes below previous lows here at 1510, 115.10, that would be more bearish. Meanwhile, I'm thinking the market is in the process of bottoming out. We did get oversold. We've been rising for a month now on the RSI lowest lows, while prices have been making new lows for the last month, give or take a week or so, which is a significant number of divergences. This is a make it or break it situation. It could start to collapse a little from here, or this is it and turn around and really start to pop back. I wouldn't particularly be confident about initiating a new long or short at the moment. 10-year notes, if I can get trades, Ninja Trader, sorry, to work correctly. And it's probably my PC. It's not Ninja. Sorry. I'm stuck here at the moment again. Let's go over. Okay, good. So this is notes. It is making a potential new low close, and it is almost, at the moment, possible double bottom. Was oversold. Almost a new low for the whole trend. We're looking at crude. Bouncing off of support. Probably going to rally a little. Heating oil. Bullish engulfing, I like those. They're not part of, they are an integral part of my ER signals, but it's only one part of the process, but an important part. And therefore, I'm looking for the beginning of a rally starting today. We are in a broader sense in a support area. Nothing stopping it for a little while on the upside. It's not very far up. But this could develop into something a lot better. Look, we've got a low, a higher low, and then a higher low, and now a higher low, maybe. Now, I know we've got the lower highs also, definition of a pennant, but that still allows for a pretty good rally short term. Next chart is natural gas. Now, I had been showing you an STS that got stopped out a couple of days after the initial trade went on the books. I think it was November 8th, we're out. And it was a scratch trade, no profit, no loss to speak of. So I have on purpose this morning, and I'm telling you now, that slowed down the STS yellow trailing stop significantly to show you what you can do. And I am therefore back in the trade, which of course you can't do real. This is like cheating. But if it was a slower stop to begin with, this would be correct. So I like the way it's looking. I'm probably going to leave it this way. And I've told you my little cheat this morning. And that's it. Looking good. Stop is now locking in a profit because I slowed it down. We're in retrospect, 2020 hindsight. And good. Next chart. Gold. And I don't do that all that often. But I had barely gotten stopped out on the natural gas. And so I figured, well, tell them what I did and why. Gold. Oversold, dropping sharply, new low, coming in finally to this support line, and this support line, that's the first level approximately, not very much more lower, just a little bit, another $15 or something from the current tick. That could turn it around. Now, if that doesn't do it, then I've got 2,500, and that should. So anywhere from a little lower which would be in the ballpark of 25.75 down to about 2,500 is where I expect this to bottom out if it keeps being oversold. I'm also looking for an outside up day, bullish engulfing, so I can get green, a buy signal. That'd be great. Silver is bouncing sideways, going sideways after touching support yesterday in an oversold condition as well. So I think this is trying to turn back up. Gold could either do so very soon. And what about platinum? Well, come on, chart, computer. There we go. Nope, it's not ready yet. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I'll fix this for tomorrow. Give me my cursor. Okay, there, I skipped something. Platinum, also oversold, also at support area, and prime target to start to rally, which is not yet. Copper, new low, not quite oversold though, and not yet in support yet. So a little bit lower, down to 4.000000. That's where I think we're going to turn. We're looking at soybeans. Well, the support level held from a few weeks ago, made new highs, got overbought, hit a little bit of resistance, and turned down. And now today it's kind of sideways, down just a little tiny bit. Minor new low. I think it's trying to turn up. We could be developing a long-term bottom. I need to see one more rally and closing prices above 1045, and I'll be a lot more interested about this minor double bottom being fulfilled at 1057 objective. But that is probably going to get high enough, strong enough, quick enough to get above 1080, which now creates an upside objective of 1187. That changes the story. So the real flip-flop here is the 1078 above or below level. Can't get above it, stay below it, no change in trend, sideways maybe. You get above it on a closing basis, we're probably going to rally enough to change a lot of other longer-term indicators. Next chart, soybean oil. We did get a sell signal and a great one on Monday. It dropped off very sharply yesterday, and again is dropping off pretty substantially today. So we're short from Monday. ER1 overnight. ER1 scalp, I think, made some very good money also. Can't tell really very easily from the daily data charts. You have to look at 1 minute or 5 minute or something like that, short term. But we never got an ER3 fill. And now it's almost too late. I looked for 3 days after the signal. So it's probably not going to get filled. We're still short one overnight, though, and that's doing fabulous. Is this going to stop going down at what I think is a neckline, and my cursor's stand? And that's just a little lower than today's lows. Now, okay, not yet. Support, come on. There we go. Support is just a little bit below today's low in the yellow zone and touching the yellow line in a day or two. But we got close today, very close, close enough probably. At any time, a little lower than today's low, we could bounce back up, and then the head and shoulders working correctly. You've got your upside breakout on October 31st. You got a little rally, couple day follow through. Good. Bearish engulfing did cause a downside correction only for a couple of days, tested the neckline. Perfect. Turned around, got overbought in resistance levels, had another bearish engulfing AR sell signals, which again is, I could use the word perfect, working perfectly so far, and testing the support level, the neckline, a second time. Yeah, it's not out of the rule, that's possible. Doesn't break any rules, but you got to hold. You got to turn around and start moving up. Soybean meal is way oversold and in a support area. And at any point in time, I probably said that for a week or two now, primed for a buy signal, but I'm waiting for one. I'm not jumping in. I'm not long. I still have to be bearish. The trend is down. I've got no bullish reversals. I've got the makings, the setup for them. Next chart. Set up for a sell signal. Didn't get a sell signal. In resistance, overbought. Right smack dab at a previous important high, too. Really nice here for corn. But this could be bottoming out. And I'm thinking, I keep saying this day after day for a few weeks now, maybe a month or two at the most. probably a month. And I like the fact that we made a low above the August lows in October and got buy signals on top of that. But we couldn't make a higher high. We tried desperately to just last week, Friday, and then it's pulling back. Explainable. Resistance, overbought. But I'm not looking for a big pullback. And I am thinking if we close over this recent high of 434, call it 435, that's going to turn me much more constructive, much more friendly, bullish, longer months to come, longer term. Come on, wheat. My cursor and keyboard PC's not responding for a moment. Sorry about these delays, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Oversold condition in wheat. Getting worse, which is better when you're looking for buy signals in a bullish turn. So are we going to develop a broad double bottom? Well, yeah, I can't rule that out. Will I get another buy signal on the bottom like we did before, exactly on the low day in retrospect, 827? We could. It's doing almost exactly the same thing as it did back here in late August. Drop off, new low ground for weeks, oversold, and then all of a sudden, kaboom, and that was the beginning of that. So I'm keeping a close eye on this wheat market for a possible double bottom, possible bullish engulfing, or just some sort of a turn back up. We got cattle. Support is holding. It did get oversold. So we've got yesterday's rally, and today, it's kind of sideways. So let's see that this gap is closed completely. It little partially has been closed, but I've talked about that almost every day. The rally could at least come up to 188. And I really can't rule out significantly higher than that because we've got these a low, and then months later a higher low, and months later you got a higher low, and now so far a higher low. The highs have been mostly flat. That's a flat top right triangle that has been developing over 2 years, one year and a half, something like that. So exactly. Yep, that's exactly right. So I like what I see from a longer term bullish point of view. We seem to have turned back up. And what about Miss Piggy? She topped out at a resistance line very accurately a couple of weeks ago, right there, almost a high tick, and dropped off to close a gap nicely. Made a little bit lower low last week. Didn't need to do that necessarily in a support area, but it wasn't anywhere near oversold. So we've turned up slightly. We could make somewhat lower lows here. I'm looking for something a little under 78, and my cursor is locked up on me. I have one more chart to go, ladies and gentlemen. A brand new chart, as a matter of fact. So please, cursor. Okay, I clicked outside the window, and it seems to be refreshing or something. Gosh, I'm sorry. Okay, do I have a cursor back? Oh, thank goodness. Sort of. One more chart. Come on. I'm on Ninja Trader's YouTube show this coming Friday morning. I don't yet have the name of the show, but I believe it is 8:30 California time, which would be 11:30 New York time. I believe it's a 1 hour show. So we'll be talking about a variety of topics, very commonly problems to beginning, intermediate oriented type traders, and is helpful to review and refresh and stuff like that for experts. So where's my next chart? Here it is. Where this is SQ. Now, frankly, I don't care what company, what it does, or anything like that. I see the price action. I immediately want to make a comment. We are on the verge of making new highs for over a year and overbought at the same time. So it's short term, which means what? A few hours? A few days? Well, that's pretty much it. A week? Well, that's stretching it a little, but not very long. Resistance level, downside correction possible, plausible, probable. But the bigger picture is, wow, look at this thing. It bottomed out last October, a year ago. So this bottom is actually 2.5 years in developing. That's not small. That's huge. And if we close over this line here at 80, we'll call it 90 flat, give or take a half a dollar or something, then the minimum upside objective is 132. And remember, we're at 88. And that could still be the beginning of much bigger, longer term, I don't know, 200, 220, 280, 240, I don't know, much higher levels. Look at what it did before. I can tell you that this was a COVID crash from middle of February, February 2021, down almost exactly 1 month later, about the middle of March. And a gigantic bull market started at that point, not just this stock, pretty much everything. But it did it before from around the same prices. So why can't it do it again? And who knows, maybe even bigger and better, and maybe it won't do it. But it looks like this is on the verge of doing something very, very big. You guys have a great day and profitable trading to you. I know this is a long one.